Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something I am incredibly excited about. We're unpacking Psalm 15. Now, for us as Torah-observant believers, this isn't just a piece of beautiful poetry. It's actually a strict operational architectural blueprint. Seriously. While Psalm 14 shows us the complete moral bankruptcy of a world without divine accountability, Psalm 15 is its exact opposite. It's the ultimate ethical blueprint. It lays out exactly what it takes to survive the consuming fire of Elohim's presence. All right, here is our roadmap. We'll be moving through 5 parts. 1. The quest for residence. 2. The core of integrity. 3. Interpersonal boundaries. 4. The unshakable verdict. And finally, 5. The ultimate embodiment. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The quest for residence. Establishing the foundation. So to start building, we have to look past the lawless world and stare straight at the sanctuary gates. We're asking a massive existential question here. Who is legally and spiritually qualified to survive inside the consuming fire of the divine presence? We're not talking about just checking off religious boxes or going through casual rituals. Because Elohim is perfectly holy, his immediate presence is literally a refining fire. Our Torah sanctuary protocols make it crystal clear. Unholiness near the king means instant destruction. So who actually has the credentials to survive that proximity? Well, David asks this directly. He says, quote, Yahweh, who may abide in your tabernacle? Who may dwell in your holy hill? End quote. Notice that double-barreled question aimed right at the sovereign. He's asking for the absolute moral prerequisites to not just visit, but to actually thrive in his presence. The original Hebrew here shows a really fascinating progression of intimacy. Look at the difference. On the one hand, to abide is the Hebrew word ger. That's like being a protected guest, a temporary sojourner, just seeking refuge beneath his wings for a bit. But then, to dwell is shakan. That is a massive upgrade. It carries the weight of permanent, settled citizenship. We're talking continuous, uninterrupted fellowship with the Creator on Mount Zion. You definitely don't just wander into that level of intimacy casually. Moving right along to Section 2, the core of integrity. Constructing the interior. When we look at the interior of this blueprint, it's amazing. Yahweh completely ignores our outward religious resume and focuses entirely on deep, personal integrity. He answers David's question by laying out a comprehensive triad. Listen to this. Quote, he who walks uprightly and works righteousness and speaks the truth in his heart. End quote. Let's break that down. Walking uprightly means walking tamim. In Hebrew, that means being blameless, whole, or uncompromised. It demands that your public actions match your deepest private convictions perfectly, with zero hypocrisy. Think about it, it's the exact same word the Torah uses for the physical perfection required of a sacrificial animal. It's that baseline standard Yahweh demanded of Abraham back in Genesis 17:1 when he said, quote, walk before me and be blameless, end quote, utterly uncompromised. But it goes even deeper than that, into our interior language. A resident of the kingdom isn't just studying Torah as some abstract theology. They're out there producing active righteousness, or tzedek, in their everyday business and judicial dealings. And catch that last part, speaking absolute truth in the deep subconscious chambers of the heart. Long before a word ever crosses your lips, you refuse to lie to yourself. No flattering excuses, just truth, right at the core. All right, Section 3, interpersonal boundaries, fortifying the exterior. Here's where the rubber meets the road. We're looking at the strict behavioral boundaries that prove our relationship with Elohim by how we treat our neighbors. Listen to these incredibly strict lines. Quote, he who does not backbite with his tongue, nor does evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, but he honors those who fear Yahweh. He who swears to his own hurt and does not change. He who does not put out his money at usury, nor takes up a bribe against the innocent. End quote. These actions map out the absolute non-negotiables for a Torah keeper. Keeping oaths, that means your word is a binding contract. If a business deal goes south and it hurts you financially, you still don't break your word. Uncompromised dependability. Then there's financial justice. Absolutely no neshek, no predatory usury against the poor. Judicial purity means you refuse bribes to keep the legal system fair. And woven through all of this is the strict ban on weaponizing your tongue. Spreading lashon hara, gossip, and slander literally destroys community. So we don't backbite, and we definitely don't eagerly pass along unverified rumors, period. Section 4, the unshakable verdict, structural integrity.
After setting up those intense ethical boundaries, we get the absolute ironclad guarantee for anyone who actually builds their life this way. The verdict is, quote, "He who does these things shall never be moved," end quote. Wow. I mean, while the wicked are like chaff blowing away, a person with this operational profile is anchored right into the bedrock of eternity. Economic collapse, geopolitical chaos, personal trials, none of it dislodges them. They are structurally integrated into the dwelling place of the Most High. And finally, Section 5, the ultimate embodiment, the capstone of the blueprint. So who actually pulled this off? As Torah-observant believers, we know exactly who perfectly modeled this blueprint. Yashua, our Messiah, is the ultimate embodiment. He is the only high priest who perfectly walked out all 11 characteristics of Psalm 15 without a single blemish. He spoke absolute truth. He perfectly guarded his tongue. He protected the poor. He completely refused the bribes of worldly kingdoms. And think about this. He kept his oath to his own hurt, all the way to the execution stake. Because of this flawless righteousness, Yashua didn't just visit the holy hill. He ascended directly into the true heavenly tabernacle. And this is exactly why we have the boldness to enter that same holy presence through his blood, provided we walk in that same pattern of holiness. Hebrews 7 really hits the nail on the head here, confirming this by saying, quote, "Seeing he ever lives to make intercession for them. For such a high priest was fitting for us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and has become higher than the heavens," end quote. So, checking your credentials at the gate. Let's make this totally practical as we wrap up this explainer. You know, Psalm 15 is basically a permanent spiritual mirror. Before we casually attempt to draw near to Yahweh, we need to verify our lifestyle against this ancient protocol. We've got to check our credentials. First, I want you to ask yourself right now, is your private internal thought life characterized by absolute honesty? Are you genuinely rooted in emet, in real truth? Or are you wandering around in a state of flattering self-delusion? Second, challenge yourself to audit your daily conversations. Do you guard your tongue from the poison of gossip? Do you strictly follow the Torah's laws against community-destroying speech? Or are you quick to eagerly take up a reproach against a friend? And lastly, do you hold your verbal commitments in such high regard that you would literally rather lose money than break your word? I leave you with that provocative check of your covenant integrity. Let his Torah refine your character today. Because ultimately, you have to ask yourself, is your character truly ready to pass the credentials check at the gates of his glorious consuming presence?